Hytale is finally here. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. And today I thought I'd talk about Hytale and my experience with Hytale, making sort of like a comprehensive early access day one review on it. So it released in I think it was January 13th it released, which I didn't really expect. I forgot that the game was coming out, and I sort of pre-ordered it 2 days before it was set to release. And it was kind of a surprise to me. I didn't really expect the game to be good. I'll be so real with you guys. I thought it was gonna be slop. And while you can't make the argument that it's slop right now, I do see the vision. I really do see the vision. And I think Hytale's gonna be pretty hype, especially with the more updates it gets, because it has a pretty strong foundation for a game released in the way that it was developed. Alright. If you don't know Hytale's development history, it's pretty turbulent. And it was pretty tragic what happened to it. And the fact that it even came out with something is pretty incredible. All right, not many games can do that, right? We saw that with Hello Neighbor, like whatever was going on with that game, the final product was not worth it. All right, the fact that some of the alphas were better than the final product says a lot. But the fact that, not Hello Neighbor, the fact that Hytale came out in a pretty playable and functional state without many bugs, and it's actually kind of fun, it's a pleasant surprise. But right now we only have the exploration mode, creative mode, mods, and some basic multiplayer. So the exploration mode, it's like your Minecraft survival, right? It's like you break trees, mine ores, die to mobs, and you get better loot. It is what it is. Creative mode, that's exactly what it sounds like. It's creative mode. You have unlimited access to everything in the game. In fact, you have access to a lot more stuff than you would think, right? You have access to cinematic cameras. You have access to sort of like a command prompt in the game, which is kind of cool. You can like code whatever you want. It'll spawn. You can have a mob spawner. You can have all of these things you can just have through the creative menu, and it's a lot more open than Minecraft. And of course, you have the rather large modding community that's already here, a day one modding community. So if you don't find the base game satisfying, then you can just add in a bunch of mods and see what they do to your game. And who knows, maybe it'll be cool. I haven't played the multiplayer yet though, so I won't really be talking much about that. But yeah, there's also the adventure mode, which you'll see at the main menu of the game. And what I assume that is, from what the game's description of it is it's some sort of like RPG. It's like a Skyrim sort of thing where you can level up your character. You have to do quests. You have you fight bosses, because there's no real bosses yet. There's just like maybe some tankier enemies, but there's no real boss. So that's what I'm assuming the adventure mode is, along with some other like stuff like more buildings and whatnot. So yeah, just keep in mind that this is the first version of the game to be released, and there's going to be a lot of bugs, a lot of stuff that feel unsatisfying. We can see that in a lot of the structures in the game. A lot of the structures just have these billboards, or these not billboards, like these signs in front of them that says work in progress on them, because it's just not done. It's just there, but there's nothing to do there. So what is the exploration mode? It's basically the classic survival loop of any procedural world, right? It's survival Minecraft. You spawn into a vast, randomly generated landscape filled with biomes such as the generic forest, plains, swamps. Then you have the deserts, the frozen landscape like mountains, icebergs, or whatever. And then you have like the more, I guess, fantastical settings such as the volcano lands, these like blue forests. Those are the main two I can think of. But they also like some other ones like the mesas, right, and all these things. And then there's like the underground biomes. Each zone, as they're called, have a different underground biome, and each zone has different loot, more difficulty, and the higher the zone is, the more difficult and the better the loot the entire place has. So yeah, you start off, you chop down some trees, right? You mine stone, you get some coal, you get ores. Sorry, there's no coal. You can use wood to burn in a furnace. You build a base if you want to. I, for one, did not build a base. I just got everything through chests from the different zones because, I'm just a gamer like that, right? We don't need to craft, all right? Crafting is for a bunch of losers, okay? But yeah, you can also farm and cook. But farming and cooking, again, you just get most of this, you get a lot of stuff through exploration, all right? You will probably not need to farm anything for quite some time, right? If you're just want to do that nomad lifestyle, 100%. You can just get infinite apples, infinite cooked meat through chests, breaking breaking crates, whatnot. And of course, you got the combat. And the combat is pretty cool, all right? While I'm not the biggest fan of first-person combat games, I do think Hytale is pretty engaging in what it does, okay? You fight a myriad of monsters, if you will, and a lot of them are pretty similar to each other. Let's be real, in a lot of these first-person combat games have this issue where a lot of the enemies just boil down to you hitting the enemy and you running back. Obviously, not everything in every game is like this, but this is what I would say like a vast majority of these games can boil down to, right? And Hytale sort of has this problem too. And that's my biggest issue, is that the combat can be rather lackluster and some, right? Now, the mechanics of the combat is pretty fun. So I would like to see these mechanics built on better enemy variety, I guess, right? And what is this new mechanic? Well, obviously you can charge up weapons and they'll all do like a special skill. And basically every weapon type, and there's a lot of weapon types, right? I've only messed with the daggers and I think the large mace and the sword and the bows. I've used bows. Bows are pretty fun too. They also have some special ultimate attack where every time you hit an enemy with your weapon, they will build up a charge and use your special ult button, and you will do like an extra powerful attack. So it incentivizes you sort of proactively attacking as opposed to running away. And the daggers, for example, used to do used to 3 really big damaging attacks. For bows, you just shoot 3 arrows, and that do insane knockback, by the way. And for the sword, you just sort of do a big slash, I think. Yeah, but you can also like block and parry. I thought there was like a dodge roll, but it's more so just like when you land on the ground, you can press the crouch button and you'll just break your fall and do a roll on the ground. But I thought it was more like a Dark Souls roll. But maybe in adventure mode we'll get something like that. That'd be pretty cool. Yeah, so that's what I can say from the just generic gameplay. There are like different structures, obviously, and each structure has its own rewards. All right, as I mentioned, that the biomes, like there's a lot of structures unique to these biomes, and usually the bigger the structure, the more rewards you'll get. And there's technically 2, but let's just count this as one structure. There's like these shrines that have a portal underneath them to which you'll go into like some like aether dimension. I forgot what it's called, but it's like a sky temple sort of thing. I think it's called the Forgotten Temple, maybe. And it's sort of like a central hub where like what I assume so are going to be a bunch of NPCs that show up. But right now there's like 2 that you don't even interact with, and everything else is blocked off by work in progress signs. I'm assuming that it sort of does remind me of the Hypixel like server, like where you pick where you want to play Bedrock or Bed Wars and Sky Wars and stuff like that. That's what it does remind me of. It's also where you get introduced to Hytale's memory system, where basically when you interact with the different mobs in the game, you get their memory. You can only have up to 48 of them before you have to deposit them. And as you get more of these memories from each of these mobs, you can unlock more crafting things, specifically the teleporters, which we'll talk about in a bit. But yeah, so overall progression of the game. Now, this is a problem I have with Minecraft. Imagine if Minecraft didn't have the Ender Dragon, and you only really play games to progress, right? If you're playing games to progress, then I think this is where you're gonna have some hard time with the at least earlier iterations of Hytale, because you're not really building up towards anything. In fact, there's nothing to build up towards at all. Basically, once you can sort of just clean the game entirely with copper gear. Like a bow is like really OP because most mobs don't really have anything to get you if you have a bow. So if you have a bunch of arrows, you basically won. There's nothing to get you. And there's no big bad of the game. Like you don't know what that is. You're not told what that is. And I don't think there is one right now. Again, early access. But this is just a foundation of the game. So if you're playing, but you want to feel like you're building towards something, then I wouldn't say you would want to get the game right now, because you're not going to find that fun. You're just going to be getting resources and crafting things and, you know, killing some slightly stronger mobs here and there and exploring some slightly larger dungeons here and there. But that's pretty much where the game ends. Now, you can also upgrade your crafting, like your workbenches. There's a lot of these crafting tables, by the way. A lot of these types of crafting tables, but you mostly just need the basic one, the furnace, the anvil, and maybe like the magic station or whatever it's called, and you want to upgrade those. But that's pretty much where the game ends right now. Now, unlike Minecraft, there's no hunger or, you know, stuff like that. There's no thirst meter, there's no hunger meter, okay? It's a lot simpler, and it's because only your health really matters. Now, there's also supposed to be a mana bar, or at least something related to mana. It's not implemented in the game, magic's not in the game yet, so there's no magic class, but I'm assuming that's going to be the next class, or, you know, weapon sets that's going to be added, because weapons already exist in the game. There are these staffs you can get, but they don't do anything right now because you don't have any mana to use. So that's probably gonna be the first thing they add in terms of weapons and combat. But yeah, like if you're gonna consume food, it's just gonna heal you over time, right? That's what food's gonna do. Food is healing and healing only. Obviously you can get like stamina boost from certain foods, and there's potions to heal you at way more than food is, but food is more of like a passive healing. It's where your passive healing comes from. Right, you're gonna eat an apple that heals you for like, I think 10 seconds. It heals you like, I'd say about a quarter of your health bar in a span of 10 seconds. So it's like that slow passive healing. And I haven't really experienced the base building stuff that much, so I'm not going to talk too much about it, but there is like a whole workbench just dedicated to making as much building stuff as you can. And of course there's mods and there's asset editors and all these things to make your own blocks and make your own buildings. So if you really play Minecraft or Terraria for that matter, just to build things, then I do think you will find Hytale fun in its current iteration right now, because there is a lot of stuff to just build with in this game. There's a lot of blocks, there's a lot of modded stuff to just interact with and have fun with. As for the variety of enemies in the game, it's infinitely more than Minecraft. All right, there's so many types of monsters. There's so many types. But the problem is while there's many in terms of their numbers, the quality is actually all, pretty much the same. They all just do the same thing. Most enemies are like brute enemies. They'll just come and smack you with their sword, or they're really slow and large and they'll hit you and it'll basically one-shot you, or they shoot arrows and they run away from you. So it's really simple, but it can be fun. All right, especially with the number of enemies that are attacking you. That can be really challenging sometimes. So I'm not really good at the combat myself, but I died quite a few times, right? And that's mainly because I'm just not prepared for a fight, right? I don't have food, I don't have a good weapon, I don't have arrows or something like that. So you really do want to pick off enemies one by one. I think that makes fighting a lot easier. But yeah, but once they add more unique types of enemies that just do more things for you to keep a track of, I think that will really change the dynamic of how you interact with the world, specifically mining. Because when you go mining, there's not that many threats down there besides some giant ass rats, and maybe like if you go too deep, you'll go into like this like cave where you'll find like a skeleton warlock that shoots like poison at you, and a skeleton head that just does things to you. I don't know, they do things, right? And they're all like, you just walk around them and you smack them, right? And it's not like nighttime's actually scarier than daytime, because there's not that many unique enemies that spawn in during night. There are like these void enemies that come out, like these beholder looking creatures. For me, they were fairly broken, like they didn't do anything. Like there was like one time they attacked and that was it. But they just like stand there for a lot of the time, so I don't really know what they do, like besides shooting stuff at you. And then there's like these big skeleton bros, and then there's the small skeleton bros, and then there's like the little dudes who on legs and they'll just like grab you, and there's like the little like insect larva things. These are all void enemies. They spawn at night. So yeah, the team, like sort of like the Hypixel team sort of warned us to expect like just a mess of gameplay, just sort of stuff just not working properly. I've never really had that issue, so I can't really speak much to that, but I'm assuming there's gonna be some bugs out there. And I know they have a really good support system for bugs. Like they have their Discord server where you can report bugs, or you can just report bugs, I think, directly from the game itself. That might just link you to the Discord server where you link bugs, but I think they're very proactive when it comes to getting people to report bugs. It's encouraged to do that. Now, okay, we already talked about the unfinished stuff, but again, you'll just see like random work in progress signs throughout the world, or you'll see them in crafting menus, or you'll see them in NPC traders. Because again, these are not, there's not finished. It's not finished. I don't know what else to say. There's not finished. I just do think that the game loop is a little shallow. That's my biggest critique. You start with everything you need. You really do. Okay. You have your weapon ults. You honestly start with a pretty, like, you can make decent weapons from the get-go, right? You can, like, I would say the basic like crude weaponry, you can just get that and then go to like a dungeon and you can get like the outrider gear like instantly. If you're just lucky, you can just run in, pick up the gear and die. Now obviously I don't like playing a game where if I die I drop my inventory. I just don't find that fun. So I'm gonna be turning on keep inventory from the get-go. So with that in mind, I can just go in, die. But if you're playing with keep inventory off, then maybe it's a little different for you. But the problem is there's no real way to get back to where you died. Right? Transportation is sort of non-existent, right? Granted, there are teleporters you can craft, but the crafting recipe is kind of convoluted. Like, I don't even know where you get these plants from. Okay, I don't know where you get these plants from. And also, that's like counting on the fact that you can't even build unlimited teleporters. You have to build one and then place the other in another area. So you're gonna assume you're gonna die somewhere. You can place the teleporter there, I guess, near your base. Yeah, I guess like the general upgrading stuff is a chore. Like you need 30 bars, or you need like a bunch of like cloth and everything just to upgrade your like thing. And the upgrade itself just makes it go faster, right? For furnace and the tanner thing, tanning rack, you need like a bunch of these materials that are so slow. It's actually, I just don't understand this design philosophy. Maybe it's just like I saw with Pal World, even in Minecraft it's there with the furnace. right? And in power, not power, in Hytale tier 2 with the furnace and the tanning rack, where things just take so long to like make, like you like, especially the harder, like the, I guess the end, more end game ores, they take so long to smelt. And don't even get me started on how long it takes for the tanning rack to do anything. It takes way too long. Now granted, when you upgrade these things, it's supposed to make them faster. I did not feel that, to be honest. Well, I did see it. I visually saw that it was faster, but it's still so slow. Yeah, I don't fuck with that. I don't. But who knows? Yeah, who knows? Water. Shit. I don't know water. Remember to stay hydrated, guys. Remember to stay hydrated. But yeah, you know, you won't encounter any boss fights. You'll encounter some big enemies. You'll encounter some unique enemies, but they're not boss fights. These are just big enemies. Like the golem in front of every single one of the forgotten temple statues or turtles. He's just a big enemy that will walk slowly towards you that you can just fight, and you cannot do anything and you'll die. That's pretty much it. So is Hytale necessarily worth picking up in this rough state? If you're hoping for a polished RPG adventure on day one, sadly Hytale is not the game for you. That's not happening just yet. Now keep in mind, yet. But if you're a builder or explorer who just likes exploring worlds, who doesn't mind the work in progress shenanigans, there's a lot of fun to have. I certainly did have a lot of fun, alright? I was watching other people stream the game, and they sounded like they were having a lot of fun, alright? The core systems work well where they currently exist, right? The way you progress through the metals, that's a little like, you don't really need to make another pickaxe, because you can just sort of mine everything with your basic pickaxe. Granted, it takes a lot more time, and they probably will break a lot faster, but there's no incentive to go from a crude pickaxe to a copper pickaxe to an iron pickaxe to, I don't know, thorium pickaxe to an adamantite pickaxe. There's no incentive to do that. You can literally just go from a crude pickaxe to an adamantite pickaxe if you really wanted to. So there's no real reason to, because there is a durability system, and the durability system is kind of, I don't really understand how it will work. Now, I think it goes down by 1 every time you smack something with it. So not only do the worst weapons have lower durability, but they also just take longer to mine stuff. So I guess that's the incentive to get better stuff. But again, you don't really need to mine anything, because you can literally just find thorium equipment out in the world. You can find like iron equipment out in the world. You don't need to even start with the pickaxe, because the game will give you the pickaxe. So yeah, if you really like exploration and you don't like base building, then honestly this game's kind of good for that, because you don't need to build a base, or you don't even need to explore that much. So I think it's like that weird dichotomy it has, where if you explore more, the game sort of like, there's less incentive for you to build a base, because you're not gonna have the materials to suddenly just like reinforce all the equipment that you have. But again, if you're in an area, there's no reason for you to explore, because you can sort of get most of the materials to get better stuff at the beginning of the game. Now granted, the better ore does spawn in better zone, but you don't need to like explore that zone. You can just go there, get the materials, and come back, right? So that's like this weird dichotomy the game has. And it's kind of interesting, sort of like in the perspective of that. But I don't know. That's kind of cool. But yeah, both obviously, if you like Minecraft, you're probably gonna like Hytale. If you like Terraria, you even might like Hytale, okay? Now if you really want to boil Hytale down right now, if you want to boil Hytale down, it's essentially just a mod pack for Minecraft. All right, let's be so real, okay? Right now, it is a mod pack for Minecraft, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. Now, whether to you, if that's worth the money it is, that's up to you. That's entirely up to you, because that's a value statement for you. So I'm not gonna say if it is or not, but yeah, it's like, you know, that's up to you. If you think it's worth, I think $20 for the default, then sure. All right, you can have your fun with it, or you can not have fun with it. I don't know, because it's just like such an odd place right now of a game, because it's just like because I see the vision. I really do see the vision of this game, and I see what it could be, and I'm subscribing to that 100%. And that's where I'm putting the value of this game, and the fact that I know that this game will get better over time. And maybe it's just some hopium, who knows? But I'm placing all the value of this game in the fact that I can watch it grow like I did with Terraria. I can watch it grow. I can watch it become a great game. I can watch it become something that is what I hoped it would be when I first bought it, if that makes sense. Okay, so I wouldn't fault anyone. I would sort of advise it for people to just watch other people play the earlier versions of the game, and then when they see something that they like or see something that they want to play, then buy the game. Because I'm assuming that this game is gonna get many structured updates, many partial updates, many patches, many just like quality of life changes, right? Because I really need something that can teleport me back to base, or I really need something that can I don't know. I see like some quality of life stuff. Okay, like something that can make me move faster, something that can make me jump a little higher, something that can make me like, I don't know, just, it's just whatever. But if you want to wait, I think that's good, because if they get their updates out, more people want to get the game, more people want to play the game, and I think that'll just be healthier for the game in general to get these updates out and make sure these updates are quality. That is the ultimate thing for this game, because this game had a disastrous launch, or disastrous development. All right, the launch was actually fairly good, but disastrous development. All right, so I don't even, when did this game even start being developed? I don't even remember. All right, but Hytale could potentially become one of the gooder, right? Pardon my French, right? Be one of the gooder words, or gooder game. Gooder is not a word. It could be one of the better games. I don't know why I said good, but it could definitely become one of the better sandbox games out there. Now, people have always said that they prefer this. What's this game called? It's called it's like the steampunk Minecraft game. Vintage Story, right? Vintage Story. People always will glaze the shit out of Vintage Story. I don't see it. I never find Minecraft that fun to begin. I'm gonna be so honest. I've never found Minecraft. I want to say out loud and out proud. All right. I'm a Terraria fan day one. All right. Well, sorry, day one. I've never really gotten into Minecraft. I just never found the appeal. Okay. I used to be into Minecraft PvP, but never into them. You would never catch me playing Minecraft. Okay. But honestly, you could catch me playing this because, right. I'll tell you all the games I play are similar to Minecraft. Has anyone ever played Blockcraft 3D? All right, I wouldn't really count Pixel Gun 3D as like a Minecraft like, but it's almost there. All right, it's the block aesthetic of it. Portal Knights, that was one of my favorite games I've ever played. All right, Portal Knights was so fun. Sky Saga. There was the Cube World. Cube World was another one. But that never came to fruition, right? That was just kind of like a whatever. There was I don't know. I forget. There's like another one I'm forgetting. It was sort of like Sky Saga, but it's not Sky Saga. It's like a weird in between of sort of Hytale and Cube World. But more Cube World than Hytale. So if the RPG is any, or if the adventure was anything like Cube World, I would love this game. You'll probably see me playing it every other day. Okay. Sort of like how I did with Terraria. I would play Terraria every other day. Terraria was one of my favorite games ever. Portal Knights was one of my favorite games ever. Like all these games have a special place in my heart. And I really hope Hytale can continue this sort of like Minecraft-like, but also more RPG, and just, find a place in my heart somewhere. And I so far it's already because I've been having a blast with the game. Now call it glazing, but it's a pretty good game. I really do think that the vision's there, and I think that the aspiration is there. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. My mouth is so dry. I've been talking nonstop without drinking water, so make sure to stay hydrated again, guys. Anyways, if you like what you saw, hit the like button. Maybe press subscribe if you feel like it. I am out. I'm just kidding. We also want to talk about Terraria 1.4.5. Yes, it's finally here. Oh my god, I'm putting that out. Whew, wow. Terraria 1.4.5, January 27th. On another goddamn Tuesday, bro. Are we serious, bro? Why, Relogic? Why did you have to do this to me? Couldn't have released it on I don't even know, Martin Luther King Day? You really had to release it on the 27th, bro? Or you could have waited till Friday? Whatever, bro. Whatever. That's another day off school, I guess. But god damn, I don't want to miss another day of school. So I missed one day for this game, not to miss one for Terraria. Not again, but yeah, I'm so excited, bro. I'm so excited for Terraria 1.4.5. All right, we've all seen the Chippy Gaming videos. We've all seen Chippy Gaming playing 1.4.5 with Redigit. All right, I'm excited, and I know you guys are excited too. I'll be streaming the shit out of that. Whether solo, maybe with some friends. Maybe I'll play with some friends. All right. I think that'll be more fun. But yeah, again, now actually, if you like what you saw, hit that like button, press subscribe. I am out. Peace.